Chun Xiang had quite a number of Nine and Yongdan's medicinal herbs, but he was not in a hurry to refine them. Just as Xiao Baifeng had said, this Tianhuadan was a popular commodity and was sold in many pill shops. Although many alchemists knew how to refine Shangpindan, that did not mean that these divine pills were very cheap. High-quality Tianhuadans were also relatively more expensive. Refining the Tianhuadan first, we can't let elder sister Baifeng waste all that effort. Chun Xiang knew that Xiao Baifeng had already used up a lot of Xin Yuan stone just for him, so he wanted to let Xiao Baifeng see a glimmer of hope, or at least let Xiao Baifeng feel that his Xin Yuan stone was not spent in vain. The Tianhuadan's pill formulas should have all been sold at price, and after so many years they were uncontrollable. But according to what I know, there are very few alchemists who can refine Tianhuadan to the extreme. Chun Xiang took out a jade box and opened it. Inside was a grass the size of a palm. It was slightly thick and red in color. This was a blazing grass Shangpin medicine it was rather common. The quality of the blazing grass is not bad. The Shangpin medicine in this kind of place all grow quite well. Chun Xiang placed the scorching grass on his cheek as he felt the warmth coming from it, then took out a small, red leaf. This leaf came out from the jade box, and after coming in contact with the natural energy of the outside world, it immediately began to emit flames. Divine flame leaf. The leaves on the heavenly fire tree, and the red tree roots beside it, should be the heavenly fire root. Chun Xiang picked up a root and sniffed it, smelling a faint fragrance. Blazing grass, God fire leaves, and heaven fire root were the main divine medicines to refine Tianhuadan. The Tianhuadan's main function was to strengthen the mysterious power's fire attribute. There were some people that had fire mysterious power that were not pure enough, and needed Tianhuadan to cultivate, to make their own flame power even more powerful. There were a lot of people who trained in flame power, so these Tianhuadan were relatively easy to sell. It was just that the lower quality Tianhuadan were relatively cheaper, and there were a lot of alchemists that could refine it, so these Tianhuadan were all considered inferior Shangpindan in the eyes of many high-level alchemists. But in Chun Xiang's eyes it was different. As long as it was a pill, being able to refine it into the highest level of peak quality, that kind of wonderful feeling of accomplishment made him feel extremely happy and excited. It's been a long time since I've refined a peak quality pill. I came to challenge a Shangpindan this time. I want to refine a cauldron of peak quality. Chun Xiang had also refined peak quality many times before, and this time the goal he set was not only to reach the peak quality which would burst out with the pill light, but also to produce more pills. You heir, have you heard of the divine spiritual pill? Chun Xiang asked. He had participated in a competition before, and at that time he had to refine a Lingguangdan. Based on the foundation of refining a peak quality, he added another method to the competition, allowing him to refine just one Lingguangdan out of every set of ingredients. Of course I've heard of it. This was a divine pill of extremely high quality that could be created by combining multiple ingredients. Generally speaking, this is only done during Alchemist's self-challenge. After all, it requires a lot of medicinal materials and it only requires a single divine pellet, yet the cost is very high. It is difficult to sell it for a high price, and even lower prices are not enough to return the price, so it is very rare to see it on the market. Yuer didn't go out with Xiao Baifeng. Previously, she only followed Xiao Baifeng because she wanted to see what kind of woman Xiao Yulan was. Chun Xiang nodded his head. That is the refining methods of the other alchemists, and as long as I am serious, after a bit of time, a portion of the ingredients will be able to concoct a divine pellet with spirit energy. He had already started a fire and was going to refine it. This was his first time refining a Shangpindan, so he was very careful. The resistance energy released by these divine medicines was very strong, and he also needed to slowly burn the spirit blood that produced these divine medicines. Chun Xiang began to burn these 3 sets of god medicine. The most difficult thing for Shangpindan was that the spirit inside the Shangpin medicine had a stronger repulsive force, which caused it to be difficult to fuse with. Chun Xiang had never used the original source refining and the spirit strengthening technique to refine Shangpindan, so he did not know what kind of difficult problem he would face right now. What's going on? No spirit blood appeared yet? Chun Xiang was a little anxious, because the 3 divine medicines had already been refined for a long time and no spirit blood had been produced. If they did not appear now, this furnace would be considered crippled. I'm almost at my limit. Xianxia saw that the 3 medicinal ingredients were about to completely transform into medicine aura, and was even more anxious. He had controlled the refining speed to be very slow from the start, and it was impossible to miss the opportunity for spirit blood to appear. But now that the 3 divine medicines were like this, it made him worried. If he could not use the original source refining on the Shangpindan, then he would need more time to comprehend other refining methods. Just as he was worrying secretly, he suddenly saw the 3 spirit bloods. It was just that the spirit blood was different from what he imagined. It was all purple. Blazing grass, God fire leaf, and heaven fire root all had a fiery red appearance, and spirit blood should also have a fiery red fire shape. But now, he saw that the spirit blood of the 3 divine medicines were all purple flames. Something strange has happened. Xianxia was ecstatic. When he was refining the Xinyang gold ginseng before, something had happened. Feng Yujie had told him before that abnormal situations were extremely rare, and would usually appear in high-grade divine medicines. The mutation not only increased the quality of the medicine many times over, but it also gave birth to other uses. The 3 spirit bloods aren't even balanced. I need to use a strong spirit technique to balance them before I begin the fusion. This was the first time he had encountered such a situation. In the past, when he was refining, he would at most use a portion of medicinal ingredients to cause a change. He did not have the experience to refine Shangpindan in the first place, so when encountering this kind of situation, he had to be extremely careful or else he would fail. You need to be strong for a period of time. The difference between the spirit blood in these 3 divine medicines is great, and the spirit blood is the strongest among the root. You need to strengthen the blazing grass and the god's fire leaf to the same level of strength as the heavenly fire root. Xianxia's progress so far was extremely smooth, but he had used quite a bit of time. It was already dark, and when Xiao Baifeng returned, he thought that Xianxia would wait for her outside. He didn't expect that he would still be locked inside the secret room. Xiao Baifeng did not see the interior of the secret room. Otherwise, she would have been shocked, because the secret room was currently filled with an intense purple light. Xianxia had already refined the pill furnace and reacted quickly. He had replaced the pill furnace with magic method furnace in time. Yue stayed at the corner of the secret room, staring wide-eyed at the strong purple light emitted by Xianxia's transparent magic method furnace. Through the purple light, she could see Xianxia fusing 3 balls of purple medicine aura. Xianxia had already completed his spirit strengthening and was entering the stage of fusion. At this point, he had to be even more careful, because the moment he started fusing, the berserk barrage of pressure would shatter the entire pill furnace. This brat, what is he doing? Yue could not understand what Xianxia was doing. Previously, she saw that those 3 divine medicines were all fiery red, but now they had all become purple. Furthermore, from the looks of those rays of light, those purple medicine aura were extremely terrifying. Xianxia took an hour to finally squeeze the 3 balls of medicine aura together, and perfectly fused them together. At the moment of fusion, an even more intense purple light exploded forth. At that moment it was also the most violent. That was close. I almost lost it. Xianxia heaved a long sigh. He almost couldn't suppress his magic method furnace just now. And to use magic method furnace, in order to make the magic method furnace stronger, he had to use even more 6 realms power. Is it time to start condensing the pill? She knew the step, and Xianxia had also begun to divide the medicine aura into 6 parts. It's actually 6 pills, Yue said in surprise. Her Star Law Divine Realm also had this kind of Tianhuadan, but she understood that it would be difficult to condense even 3, but Xianxia had more than doubled. Xianxia originally only planned to condense 4 pills, but he never thought that after the change, after fusing with the beasts again, he would suddenly produce so many medicine aura. Right now, he was only able to condense 6 pills in a conservative situation. If he wanted to challenge the limit, he felt that he could still condense 1 or 2 more pills. Now that he had experienced the benefits of the magical medicine's mutation, there would be many more medicine aura. He felt that the change must be related to his Chuangzhao fire. Otherwise, it wouldn't be such a coincidence that he encountered this kind of situation twice. After dividing the pill into 6, Xianxia took a deep breath. The following step was extremely crucial, and he did not plan on condensing the pill as simply as he did now. Charge! Xianxia shouted in his heart and fiercely controlled the 6 separated groups of medicine aura to undergo a high-speed and violent collision within a short distance. What are you doing? This is killing me. The instant they collided, Yuer felt as if her cat's eye was going to be blinded by those purple lights. What she found inconceivable was that the instant they collided, they actually burst forth with a terrifying aura. Yuer, who was inside the secret room, and even Xiao Baifeng, who was outside, could feel the aura of a king descending from the heavens. What's he doing in there? Xiao Baifeng suddenly stood up and looked at Xianxia's secret room. After fusing the 3 balls of mutated medicine aura, they had become many times stronger and were already very violent. Then, they were split into 6 by Xianxia. The moment they collided, even Xianxia was shocked by the power that exploded out. He could clearly feel the speed at which the quality of the energy increased after the collision. Yuer and Xianxia both looked in shock at the center of the magic method furnace. At this moment, there was a purple ball there, just like a purple round jewel. It actually turned into liquid. Yuer couldn't help but cry out in alarm. What are you doing? It's just 3 pieces of broken medicinal herbs, but after a few tries, you've become so frightening. Xianxia was also very excited at this moment. He laughed proudly. This is concocting pills, transforming rotting into a miracle. With that, he immediately divided the purple liquid into 10 groups. Yuer seemed to be numb to it all. If that ball of liquid suddenly hit a boar, she would not be surprised, and would definitely understand the terrifying technique that was Xianxia used to concoct pills. 10 pills. Very quickly, Xianxia was able to condense 10 purple pellets, and they were of high quality, shining with a purple gold light. These were Shangping Dan with spiritual lights. This seems to be the spiritual light, Yuer said. That's right. This is a Tianhua Dan with spirit energy after mutation. Xianxia laughed and wiped his sweat. On the way here, he spent more than a day to concoct the pill. After walking out of the secret room, Xiao Baifeng, who was sitting in the center of the room, immediately stood up. He looked at Xianxia, who was covered in sweat, and Yuer, who had flown out. So the kitten is inside. I thought she was running around. Xiao Baifeng carried Yuer, who had flown over, and asked, Xinfei, what are you doing inside? Such a huge commotion. Did it explode? That pill furnace has turned to ash. Xianxia looked at the pill furnace in the secret room. Originally, it was only a fragment. Failed. Don't be too anxious. Even if you miss this match, you still have a lot of chances. Xiao Baifeng also knew that she had given Xianxia too much pressure. She was worried that Xianxia would be affected by the pressure and be unable to display his true abilities. No, I did it. Xianxia took out a jade box and handed it over, then said with a smile, Elder Sister Baifeng, take a look. Do you recognize what pill this is? Xiao Baifeng opened the jade box, and inside the jade box, a wave of scorching air surged out, causing her to have no choice but to avert her head. This is spiritual light. Xiao Baifeng suddenly widened her beautiful eyes that were filled with astonishment, and involuntarily shouted, This kind of quality, it's a divine spiritual pill. Yes, but do you know what kind of divine pill this is? Xianxia did not know what effects the mutated Tianhua Dan would have. Is this a 9 yin and yang Dan? Xiao Baifeng asked. She had eaten Tianhua Dan before, and had seen it many times, but the purple gold divine pellet in the jade box was completely different from the ones she had seen before. No, the 9 yin and yang Dan is even stronger. This is what Tianhua Dan's divine medicine looks like after it mutated. Later on, I used the method of refining spirit light to refine it, and it became like this. Eat one and see how effective it is. Xianxia said. Xiao Baifeng ate one pellet, and then asked, You used up all of your divine pellets? One needs to have more medicinal ingredients to refine the spiritual light. The effects are 7 or 8 times stronger than the superior grade Tianhuadan I've eaten before. Furthermore, there is another kind of... Xiao Baifeng took in a deep breath of cool air. Her petite jade face was full of surprise. There is another type of power that can increase one's divine soul. Is this another effect that comes from mutation? The increase in divine soul is more obvious. Xianxia laughed faintly. How many Shun Yuan stone can you sell? 20 million pills definitely won't be a problem. Xiao Baifeng said. 30 million is possible. Just how many medicinal ingredients did you use? 1 set. Xianxia laughed mischievously. Relax. I have never done things that are out of the ordinary. How can I spend your Xin Yuan Stone S to buy medicinal formulas for me, and also help me purchase the 9 Yin and Yangdan's medicinal ingredients? I'll get it back for you soon. Xiao Baifeng felt like he had picked up a treasure, and the way he looked at Xianxia became gentler. After all, Xianxia's pill refining skills had already surpassed her understanding of pill refining. Elder sister Baifeng, how much did you spend on the pill formulas? Xianxia asked. 700 million Xin Yuan stone. Xiao Baifeng said. And this is the cheapest price because I know someone, that's why I can take them down. If not, I would have required another 300 to 200 million. If the Tianhuadan I refined is very popular, then it won't be long before you make a comeback. Xianxia laughed. I have only used 1 set of divine medicines now. Once I familiarize myself with it, I will be able to concoct it faster. Xiao Baifeng was no longer suspicious of Xianxia's strength. If she sold the 9 Tianhuadan in her hands, she would probably sell it for 300 million. Even if it was her, it would still take many years before she could save up to that much. Elder sister Baifeng, can you help me get a better pill furnace? Xianxia was a little embarrassed, because Xiao Baifeng had said before that she had used up most of her Shen Yuan stone. No problem. Xiao Baifeng nodded his head. The competition is about to begin. At that time, you only need to refine the Zhongping Dan and you will be able to pass. At that time, the princess will personally watch the competition, and when that time comes, you will have to reveal your strength. If you can become famous by then these 9 divine pills will be even more expensive. Elder sister Baifeng, I feel that you are very similar to an acquaintance of mine. Xianxia suddenly laughed. What do they look like? Xiao Baifeng slightly turned her head, but she was still unable to bear Xianxia's gaze. She's called Little Lizzie, and is as petite as you are. Also a beauty who looks cold but looks warm inside. Furthermore, she's been by the side of a very powerful woman since she was young, and is also very powerful. Xianxia laughed. I used to tease her and let her be my wife. Phew. Xiao Baifeng lightly glared at him. You can tell at a glance that this isn't a good thing. If I were her, I would definitely not follow you. Xianxia chuckled. Not necessarily, not necessarily. Little scoundrel. Yu giggled. Xiao Baifeng smiled lightly, touched Yu and said, There is news about the few divine medicines you asked me to inquire about, and they are rarely sold on the market. But I heard that one of our divine cauldron nation specially purchased these divine medicines for a relatively high price. Can you buy it? Xianxia asked. That great national master must be the one who knew how to refine bone-level Dan. Sure. You need something mid-tier? How many portions do you want? Xiao Baifeng asked. Within your capabilities you can do as much as you want. This is very important to me. Elder sister Baifeng, I will definitely not treat you unfairly in the future. Xianxia spoke seriously and continued, Oh right, when you buy it, you better keep it a secret, so that no one can find out who bought it. Is that all right? Sure. Xiao Baifeng nodded his head. Go rest, don't refine pills tomorrow. Rest up and go participate in the preliminaries. Xiao Baifeng woke up very early and busied himself with the things that Xianxia had told her. In the Imperial Nine Palace, although a female servant like her had the protection of the Jade Cauldron Divine King, Xiao Yulan, she was still looked down upon. Even the young royal prince, who was much weaker than her, treated her like a slave. And it was only because of Xiao Yulan's face, which was why he was usually so polite to her. However, Xiao Baifeng did not want to continue like this. She needed to obtain even stronger power, and her talent was limited. If she could not break through when she grew old, Xiao Yulan would let her leave the Imperial Nine Palace and let her focus on cultivation. And now that she met Xianxia, this genius alchemist, she had other plans in mind. Even though she was Xiao Yulan's female servant, she wasn't usually able to be with Xiao Yulan. Furthermore, in the Imperial Nine Palace, she was always scheming, and it was difficult for her to find someone she trusted that she could trust. But what Xianxia did was different. Xianxia trusted her a lot, and she trusted Xianxia the same. Xianxia constantly called her elder sister by phone, which made her feel especially close. No one had ever called her that, because in the eyes of many in the Imperial Nine Palace, she was just a lowly female servant. Because of her loss of these things, she had gradually forgotten how to smile, so she always seemed cold. Therefore, when she was with Xianxia, Yue would occasionally smile. It was just that she was unable to see how beautiful her smile was, while Xianxia and Yue were able to see it. Little scoundrel, quickly get up. Yue used her tail to sweep at Xianxia's nose, forcing him to wake up. Has it been ruined? Xianxia yawned. Refining that mutated Tianhuadan made him very tired. No. Don't you think the elder sister by Feng is a little pitiful? At least she smiled in front of us. The last time I went with her to see Xiao Yulan, she didn't smile at all when she saw him. Yue said. Xianxia sighed. That's normal. This is related to the environment she grew up in. I have also met this kind of woman before. Sister Yu was like this in the past. Yue nodded her head and replied, last time when I followed her to a place relatively close to Jade Cauldron Palace, I heard many people say that she was a servant girl, that she was a slut that was hard to listen to, and that she had spoken very loudly. It seems like after living here for so many years, she has yet to integrate into this environment and has instead been ostracized. Because this place doesn't give her any warmth or trust, she herself also rejects others. This is normal. This kind of place has too many scheming. If she does this, it would be a form of self-protection. As a result, people would secretly gossip about her, or at least avoid too much trouble. Xianxia understood this better. Why did you suddenly ask me this? The words she said to me last night were all complaints, so I hope you can help her. Yue stuck out her tongue. Even though she has 30 divine deity, she's very pitiful. No problem, but I need to find an opportunity. In short, I will take this to heart. After all, she treats me quite well. Xianxia nodded and agreed. Xianxia did not refine pills today, but had carefully adjusted himself and only returned in the evening. I haven't bought any of those magical medicines yet. It will take me a while to get them. Xiao Baifeng was wearing a very simple light purple dress. The moment she came back, she sat down and looked very tired. Xianxia hastily brought tea for her to drink. Elder sister Baifeng, you must have worked hard for the whole day. Is he helping Jade Cauldron Divine King with something? Yeah. She told me to buy some things. Xiao Baifeng nodded. Seeing how considerate Xianxia was in serving her, she smiled at him. Xinfei, the preliminaries are going to start tomorrow. I just got the news that the disciples of the great national master are also going to participate in the alchemy competition. Xianxia had heard Xiao Baifeng talk about the great national master's disciple before. He was a third-rank divine king, but he possessed the power to fight for the throne. Which side does he represent? Xianxia asked. Didn't you say there are 7 first-rate divine kings competing? His appearance should be on behalf of one of the celestial kings, right? Xiao Baifeng said, I originally thought it would be like that, but in reality it isn't. It's just that Prince thought it was fun, and he himself is an alchemist with extraordinary strength, so he also wants to join in the fun. This fellow must be here to cause trouble. Xianxia never thought that it would be like this. He was also extremely curious now how powerful this prince was. If his performance is really outstanding, then he might become a great national master in the future, and he might even possess royal bloodline. Xiao Baifeng caressed Yue, who was being naughty, and laughed softly. But you don't have to worry. Your competition does not need to contend for the first place. It is also not something that you can contend for with your current strength. You just need to demonstrate your strength. I believe that when the time comes, the princess will definitely see through your potential. Xianxia nodded his head, but he still wanted to fight for it. Right now, it was a good opportunity to compete with many outstanding alchemists within a divine nations. Yue suddenly meowed. Someone's coming. This guy just pushed the door open and came in. After Xiao Baifeng sensed the familiar aura, he was suddenly shocked and said in a low voice, "It's a prince." Originally, she wanted to let Xianxia take cover for a while. She didn't want him to get caught, but that prince had already walked in. This was the first time Xianxia had seen a prince of divine nations. This prince was very young, around the age of 18, although his face was not bad. But he was tall and thin, like a bamboo rod that would fall if he were to blow. It gave off a very thin feeling, but he was wearing a luxurious golden robe. This set of clothes gave him a noble aura, and he looked like a noble of the imperial family. "Ming Prince, it's already late. If you have anything to say it tomorrow." When Xiao Baifeng was speaking with Xianxia just now, her expression was very gentle, and there was even a faint smile on her face. However, the moment Ming Prince arrived, she immediately recovered her ice-cold expression. Ming Prince saw a man here, and he was tall and handsome. This caused his heart to be filled with rage, and he spoke with an angry tone of voice. "Xiao Baifeng, I didn't think that you would hide a man here. Bringing an outsider into the Imperial Nine Palace is a capital offense." "He's not an outsider. He's the princess subordinate. He just joined the group. Here's his jade medallion." Xiao Baifeng immediately took out a jade tablet. On it was Xiang's name, and the bright side of the jade tablet also had his appearance. Other than that, there was a small cauldron carved at the bottom right corner of the jade tablet, and the words, "Xiao Yulan," were written on top of the cauldron. Xiang immediately understood that this jade tablet was something that Xiao Baifeng had just obtained. Only by obtaining Xiao Yulan's authentication would his identity be recognized. "He belongs to me now, so why is he staying with me temporarily? Is there something wrong with that?" Although her expression was ice-cold, the way she spoke was still very gentle. After all, she had always been like this. "Xiao Baifeng, there is now a chance for you to soar into greatness. As long as you agree to it, your identity will undergo a tremendous change." When Ming Prince found out that Xianxia was not Xiao Baifeng's man, he felt much more comfortable and his tone became better. "What chance?" Xiao Baifeng asked. "Be my concubine." The prince faintly smiled. "You don't have to worry about that prince consort of mine. He only came to find you because he persuaded her. As long as you agree, even the imperial sister cannot oppose him." Xiao Baifeng rejected him immediately. "No, I'm not so unlucky as to be able to bear it. I have already gotten used to being a servant girl. Ming Prince, please go back. You." Ming Prince was immediately angered. He waved his hand and gathered a burst of godly power, preparing to attack. "Ming Prince, please behave yourself." Xiao Baifeng's voice suddenly became ice-cold, and divine power condensed in his body. "I understand. You must be having an affair with this guy. Humph humph. I'll go and tell my royal sister right now. You must know that my royal sister hates her servant girl the most for doing such despicable things." Ming Prince looked at Xiang and snorted. Then he left in a hurry. Seeing that he had left, Xiang laughed. "Elder sister Baifeng, you are quite powerful. Didn't you tell me to be careful of these princes, and not to provoke them? You seem to have offended him already." Xiao Baifeng coldly snorted. "It's just that this guy is too useless. In all these years, he only has 15 years of divine deity and it's even so tyrannical. Isn't it just because he has a very powerful mother? He and his mother are both part of the princess faction, so I can only bear with it a little. Not to mention that this fellow has a decent princess concubine. There are more than 100 women by his side, and they're still not satisfied. They go everywhere to pick a flower and make trouble for him." Xiang laughed. "The women beside him are probably not that powerful either. That's why I wanted to subdue a heavenly god like you who has 30 divine deity." Xiao Baifeng glared fiercely at Xiang. "Go back and sleep. Tomorrow, I'll bring you to participate in the preliminaries." She had 30 divine deity, so even if she wanted to find a guy, she couldn't be too different from him. Even if she rejected him, she had to at least have potential, and that Ming prince didn't have any potential at all. It was only 15 years old, and Xiao Baifeng had already defeated him with a single slap. Even if it was a prince, Xiao Baifeng had no interest in him. In the morning, Xianxia was woken up by Yuer's small tail. Yuer was just a cat at night. Little scoundrel, I have some information on Xianxia and the others. After communicating with Xingyue for a few days, I finally got some rewards, Yuer said. Is that true? Xianxia pinched her small tail, causing her to meow loudly. They were brought to a mountain inside the Jade Cauldron Palace. I will have the stars and moon draw out a detailed map for them in a few days and then pass it on to you. Yuer replied. Elder sister Baifeng has already woken up and is waiting for you. Xianxia looked outside the window. The sky had only just brightened. After he finished washing up, he walked into the hall and saw Xiao Baifeng in a white dress sitting there. Beside her, there was even some food. Elder sister Baifeng, you look so pretty in a white dress, although this dress is a bit old. When worn on you, it gives you a kind of simple beauty. Xianxia freely praised him, but Xiao Baifeng thought that he was just saying those flowery words. Do you want me to give you some beautiful dresses? I'll go out and pick a few good ones another day. Xianxia had good taste. After all, he had many great beauties by his side. No need. I can't be that eye-catching in Imperial 9 Palace. Xiao Baifeng shook his head, looking at the pastries on the table. Hurry up and eat it. It's useful to you. It can let you relax. Xianxia laughed as he walked over. He grabbed a piece of cake and threw it into his mouth, chewing on it as he said, What a joke. Do you think I would be nervous? Experience was much richer than Xiao Baifeng's, who had 30 divine deity, and had experienced many great waves. Oh right. The Ming prince went to complain to the Jade Cauldron Divine King? Will that affect you? Xianxia asked. The princess will definitely believe me. It's not like she doesn't know the notoriety of Ming Prince. It is only because Ming Prince's mother had decent strength. That is why she allowed her mother to stay in the Jade Cauldron Palace. Xiao Baifeng did not take this matter to heart at all. After Xianxia finished eating, he immediately stood up and walked out of the courtyard with Xianxia. Get in. The place we are going is a little far. The center of Imperial 9 Palace. Many people will be participating in today's preliminaries, and at least 3,000 will be able to refine pills. Xiao Baifeng said, These 3,000 alchemists are all powerful forces, and our Jade Cauldron Palace has 300 of them. Do the alchemist of the Jade Cauldron Palace have a meeting to exchange pointers? Xianxia asked. No, the situation of these alchemists are basically similar to yours. There is a special person in charge who can help them buy divine medicine and refine divine pills that they can sell to the Jade Cauldron Palace's manager in charge of purchasing divine pills. In short, you have yet to enter the sect. If you were to receive Jade Cauldron Palace's acknowledgement, I can directly use the Jade Cauldron Palace to purchase divine medicines in the future. It would be much cheaper. Xiao Baifeng said. Xianxia scratched Yuer's itch and laughed. That's also good. That is to say, the stronger I am, the more benefits you will receive, right? Yes, if you can concoct a lot of good divine pellets and I sell these to the Jade Cauldron Palace, I will be able to obtain rewards from the Jade Cauldron Palace. These rewards will all be useful to me. Xiao Baifeng said, It's just that not everyone can find a good alchemist to work with. Now that you have found him, I am a very good alchemist. Xianxia laughed out loud. I'm not bragging. Xiao Baifeng only snorted lightly. She couldn't deny that Xianxia's pill refining was indeed heaven-defying. Very quickly, Xiao Baifeng's car stopped. After Xianxia followed her out of the car, they saw a huge octagonal-shaped building in the plaza ahead of them, which was constructed entirely out of huge golden rocks. It was at least 300 meters tall and was extremely grand. Xiao Baifeng handed over a jade token to Xianxia and said, This is your identity plate. I have already helped you register for the pill. Just wait a moment, go and refine the pill according to the rules. Xiao Baifeng tugged on Xianxia. Stop looking, quickly go in. At this time, among the people who had entered the 8-corner hall, There were quite a few who were dressed extravagantly. Xianxia felt that those people were all aristocrats of the imperial family, and that quite a few of the people participating in the competition would be princes and grandchildren of those with such esteemed status. Xiao Baifeng, is this your little man? Not bad, your face and figure are pretty good. A mocking voice came from afar. Xianxia immediately looked over. There was a beautiful woman dressed in a luxurious red dress. Xiao Baifeng only glanced at the woman once before circling around her to continue walking forward, as if he hadn't seen her at all. Xiao Baifeng, the entire Jade Cauldron Palace knows about you raising a young man now. Hee hee. Let's see if the princess can bear with your actions. The alluring woman laughed again. Her voice was so loud that everyone present could hear her, and they all turned to look at her. He is an alchemist who is cooperating with me. I have told the princess that I do not need you to worry about him. If you continue to fabricate facts to ruin my reputation, don't blame me for being impolite. I, Xiao Baifeng, am not a soft persimmon. Xiao Baifeng was furious. Her petite body was releasing her anger, causing the enchanting woman's face to turn pale white. Just as Xiao Baifeng was enraged, Xianxia suddenly shot forward like an arrow, raised his hand and slapped across. The alluring woman immediately turned her head to the side to avoid the attack. Clearly, she was quite strong as well. Bitch, don't make me up. I'm a little man. Don't think I wouldn't dare to hit you just because you're a woman. Xianxia had purposely slowed down a bit just now. If not with his explosive strength, even if this enchanting woman had 30 divine deity, he would still be able to hit her. Xiao Baifeng was also very surprised. She never thought that she would actually make a move, and at such a fast speed, it was almost impossible to feel his movement trajectory, as though he had arrived in front of that woman in an instant. Hurry up and leave her be, Xiao Baifeng reprimanded. The preliminary competition is more important. Xianxia snorted and followed behind Xiao Baifeng and quickly entered the octagonal hall. There were a lot of people inside that looked to be in chaos, but Xiao Baifeng was very familiar with this place. Xianxia saw that there were a lot of people concocting pills. The pill furnaces were emitting hot steam. Some pill furnaces were trembling violently. Some of them were letting out red light. The alchemists were seriously concocting pills. How do I pass the preliminaries? Xianxia asked. The preliminaries are designed to eliminate a large portion of alchemists who are at a lower level. So, the first thing you need to do is to be able to refine a high-quality Zhongping Dan, and then you need to produce more than 2 pellets. Xiao Baifeng said, this is the rule of refining pills, and before that there is even a flame test. The flames are not qualified, and can't even be used to concoct pills later. Xiao Baifeng pointed to a stone tablet not far away. This stone tablet was as tall as 3 people, and there were 100 patterns on it. There were 2 holes at the bottom of the stone tablet. Xianxia saw a person placing his hands inside it to release flames. After the flames were released, a red beam of light would shoot straight up. Now, after the person released the flame, he could only go up to the 8th inscription. I need to go to the 10th place to pass. Xiao Baifeng said. This Fire Xiong Divine Tablet was a divine tool forged by the Heavenly Divine Lord back then. It is said that only the flames of the Heavenly Divine Lord can reach the top of the 100th inscription pattern. Does it get harder the higher you go? Xianxia never thought that he would be able to see the works of the Heavenly Divine Lord here. At this time, there were already 3 people who had come to try, and the number had not even reached 10. He hadn't thought that it would be so hard. Those who were able to participate in the preliminary heats at least had some foundation, but they had actually rolled out here. What's so good about refining pills? Why do I feel like there are a lot of people watching us? Xianxia looked around. This area was rather crowded, but there were very few people participating in the pill refining exam. He is waiting for the Prince Ping, Xiao Baifeng said. Prince Ping is that great national master's disciple, the young 3rd-rank divine king. His name is Xiao Ping? Xianxia asked. I never thought that he would be so popular. Of course, because he rarely appears, but there are all sorts of legends about him. Even many princes and princesses have seen him. Xiao Baifeng said. The Prince Ping is here. Suddenly, someone shouted. Hearing someone shout, Xianxia, like many others, looked around. Soon enough, he saw a man in red robes walking over, and behind him was an old man. This red-clothed man was Xiaoping, whom he had secretly fought with Xianxia alone when he had watched Xianxia refine bone-level Dan. He was the disciple of the great national master, and he was also currently one of the few who could refine bone-level Dan. He wasn't very handsome, but he could still be considered pretty. He walked over at a leisurely pace with a faint smile on his face. His clothes weren't very luxurious, his body didn't exude a strong aura, and he didn't have a very handsome appearance. But for some reason, he gave off an extremely charming feeling, making people unable to help but glance at him a few times. But no matter what, he was a prince, a disciple of the great national master, and was also a third-rank divine king. Just based on these things, no one dared to look down on him, and these were all manifestations of strength. I've heard about the Fire Xiong divine monument for a long time, but I never dared to test it. I was worried that I would be too weak and get a blow from it. Xiaoping walked to the side of the divine stele. He was very obedient as he took out his identity jade token and handed it to the old man in charge of inspecting it. After the test, the elder gave the jade token to him. When everyone heard his words, they were all speechless. If even he didn't dare to test his strength, then who would dare to come? He was the disciple of the great national master, so his flames were definitely not weak. Everyone was looking forward to it. He didn't like to participate in complicated and bloody battles and wholeheartedly pursued the highest realm of alchemy, which was why he had come to participate in this competition. Thus, he didn't represent any major power and was only here to join in on the fun. There were rumors that after finding out that he was not participating in the struggle for the throne, the first-tier divine kings had all offered generous conditions to rope him in, but they were all rejected one by one. There were even those that said he had been looking for divine medicines for many years, but he rejected them all. Xianxia heard the soft discussion of many people, and couldn't help but admire Xiaoping, who was indeed a person worthy of respect. When he grew up in an environment like the Imperial Nine Palace, it was truly difficult for him to maintain his personality. Xiaoping extended both of his hands into the two holes beneath the Fire Xiong divine stele and frowned slightly. A red light immediately surged out from the bottom of the neat engravings on the stone tablet. In the blink of an eye, the red light surpassed the 10th inscription. It went directly up to 30. After 30, its rising speed gradually slowed down. However, it still continued to continuously rise until it stopped at 45. I did my best. Xiaoping looked at the place where the red light stopped. The heavenly divine lord back then was really scary, being able to go straight to over 100. Even if I had the 100 gods level, I might not be able to instantly go over 100. Xiaoping had 45 years of experience, which was already pretty good. Many alchemists couldn't even pass this level, and before Xiaoping came, the highest he could reach was 15 years old. It's your turn, go and try. Xiao Baifeng pushed Xianxia away as he took a few steps forward. Isn't this the little man raised by Xiao Baifeng? It is said that they are also participating in the competition. Where did Xiao Baifeng get this half-alchemist from? He must be here to try his luck. Yeah, if this alchemist is not bad, then Xiao Baifeng can be considered to have pretty good luck. At least he won't be just a maid in the future. She was already used to it, but Xianxia was actually furious in his heart when he heard her speak of this. He believed that it must be the Ming prince's rumors and slanders. These bastards. They actually look down on us like that? Xianxia looked at the people around him coldly. Xiaoping also felt that it was boring when he heard the crowd's discussions. Of course he knew Xiao Baifeng, since she was Xiao Yulan's female servant. He had seen her several times, although she had 30 divine deity. But because she was a female servant, she was always looked down on. Of course, Xiaoping would not look down on Xiao Baifeng. He felt that Xiao Baifeng's strength was greater than most of the people here. Young master! When the old man behind Xiaoping saw Xianxia's appearance, he shouted in surprise. Xiaoping also felt that Xianxia looked familiar, so Xianxia's appearance immediately surfaced in his mind. But Xianxia right now had changed his appearance a little, and was somewhat similar to before, which was why Xiaoping and the old man felt that he looked familiar. Xiaoping looked at the old man behind him, telling him not to talk anymore. Originally, he had planned to go and refine pills immediately, but he realized that Xianxia looked familiar and wanted to see Xianxia's reaction. Xiao Baifeng was a little surprised. She could tell that Xiao Ping was more concerned about Xianxia and was about to leave, but he suddenly stopped and looked at Xianxia. Shen Fei. After the old man checked the jade tablet, he returned it to Xianxia. Hearing the name, Xiao Ping couldn't help but smile. He had already confirmed that this was Xianxia, and as Xiao Ping's follower for many years, he naturally understood why Xiao Ping was laughing. Last time, Xiao Ping was only sparring with Xianxia, but this time they could truly compete. Because he was the little man raised by Xiao Baifeng, he was also the center of attention. Xianxia, on the other hand, was rather calm as he burrowed both his hands deep into the two holes, sucked in a small breath, and then used the powerful Six Realms power in his body to attack the four-flame divine deity S. The four-flame power S that had undergone the transformation of the four divine deity fiercely collided with each other, and like four great rivers converging together, created an even stronger impact. After that, they went through the double bone level on his left arm, and after an even stronger transformation, they congealed into flames. After he released the flame, a red light instantly appeared at the bottom of the divine steel inscription pattern array. The red light instantly broke through 20 and then slowly came to a stop at 25 meters, causing the crowd to cry out in alarm. Must be over 30. Xianxia increased the intensity of the flames, causing the red light to continue rising. In a few blinks of an eye it had passed 30, but the red light did not stop, it continued to rise. 36. Xianxia's forehead dripped with sweat, then he retracted his hand. No one could believe that someone who emitted the aura of six divine deity could actually cause flames to soar to such a height. Did the fire Xiong divine steel break? When Prince Ping used his strength just now, it must be because there are still flame power remaining in the Prince Ping, which is why he is acting like this. Right? This guy doesn't even look like a god. Just a flame of this degree is impossible. Wait until the flame power of the divine steel disappears. Then he can be reborn. Xiao Ping said, if you don't think so, you can try. Is it because of the remnants of the flame power? There was really someone who went up to try, but no matter how hard they tried, they could not get past 8. Following that, a few more people came up, all of them from 4 to 5. What this fire Xiong divine steel is testing is not the strength of the divine power, but the flames. Do you understand the intensity of the flames? The intensity of these flames cannot be said to be because the more divine deity there is, the stronger the flames are. Back then, when my master went to take the test when he was at the 60th session of divine deity, he was able to reach that level, and there aren't even as many at the 10th divine deity as him. Xiao Ping said indifferently, if this fire Xiong divine monument only relies on the quantity of divine deity to test the strength of the flames, then he wouldn't even be placed here. The fire Xiong divine steel tests your control over the laws of fire. Although there is a certain relationship between this and the divine deity, it is not a necessary one. Hearing Xiao Ping's words, everyone stopped talking. Xiao Ping was obviously speaking up for Xianxia, and caused those people who had mocked Xianxia to lower their heads in shame, because they already knew that they were unknowledgeable. Xiao Ping looked at Xianxia and laughed faintly. I hope that you can reach the end. I really look forward to battling with you for a bit. I look forward to it too. Xianxia also had this strong thought, as if he had met a rare opponent. Xiao Baifeng was very satisfied with Xianxia's performance. This was the only way Xianxia would be able to obtain more of Xiao Yulan's recognition, and at that time, he would be able to grow even faster. Seeing Xiao Baifeng picking up such a good alchemist, many people were secretly jealous that if they could develop an outstanding alchemist, then with the help of this alchemist, they would definitely have a very high status and strong strength. The pretty girl who mocked Xiao Baifeng previously was also present. Thinking about how Xianxia wanted to slap her earlier, she became even more furious. Now that she knew that this little man had such potential, she became even more jealous of Xiao Baifeng. The next step was the second stage of the test. To assess the pill refining level, it was just refining the Zhongpindan, but the requirements were very harsh. It needed to produce a certain number of pills, and the quality also needed to be good and had to be within the time limit. Otherwise, it would be impossible to pass. Beside this area was a group of alchemists that were seriously controlling the pill furnaces and refining Zhongpindan. Xianxia had also just seen a moment ago. Zhongpindan's ingredients were all provided and they were all used to refine 5 elements danes. Now, Xianxia understood why Xiao Baifeng gifted the 5 elements dan to him so generously. This 5 elements dan and that Tianhua dan were also common goods, he could casually obtain them, but he would need a certain number of Shen Yuan stone to buy them. Xiao Baifeng was very much at ease with this stage. She herself had personally witnessed Xianxia refining 5 elements dan. Not only was it fast, the amount of 5 elements dan that came out was also extremely shocking. Xiao Ping had already received his 5 elements dan and a pill furnace. In order to ensure fairness in pill refining, he used a single pill furnace. "Young master, are you still not going to start?" At this time, many alchemists had the same question. After Xiao Ping brought the medicinal ingredients and pill furnace into the arena, he sat down with his legs crossed. The medicinal ingredients and pill furnace were beside him, so he did not touch them. "I'm waiting for someone." Xiao Ping glanced at Xianxia. Here, he couldn't wait to have a small match with Xianxia. Seeing his gaze, everyone could not help but be shocked. Xiao Baifeng's little man was really too polite. He actually made the Prince Ping waste time waiting for him. Because they were both refining 5 elements dan and also using the same pill furnace, the competition was very fair. Xiao Ping knew that he had lost to Xianxia once, and now he wanted to take it back. Xianxia felt that this Prince Ping loved to duel too much. It was just that he did not know that this Prince Ping had once lost to him. All of the alchemists present were extremely jealous of Xianxia at this moment. To actually be valued so highly by Xiao Ping, and Xianxia had also caused them to secretly admire him. If it was them, they would probably be very nervous already. But Xianxia was actually very relaxed. "Aren't you going over?" Xiao Baifeng looked at the people around him and saw that everyone was watching him. Xiao Ping's voice was also very loud just now. Xiao Baifeng also thought that Xianxia was too calm. To be able to be so calm in the face of a challenge from someone of Xiao Ping's level, he did not seem afraid at all. Xianxia smiled faintly. "There's no rush. Both he and I tested on the Fire Xiong Divine Steel earlier, and both have a certain amount of energy loss. If we start right now, we're definitely not in our best condition. We both need to undergo a short period of adjustment. Young lad, to refine a Zhongpindan, you have to do it within the set time. The Prince Ping thinks highly of you, so don't waste his time." That old follower was very considerate of his young master and hastily came over to greet him. "Aren't we supposed to complete it within 6 hours? With your Prince Ping's strength, I estimate that it would be completed in 2 hours, and perhaps even faster." Xianxia laughed. "So elder, don't be anxious. It took only 2 hours to produce 2 or more high-quality 5 elements dan. Right now, they were risking their lives, but their speed was still the same. They couldn't understand why was it that they were both concocting pills, their refining speed was so slow, but the others were all so fast, their methods were all the same. Xiao Ping only wore a smile on his face. He agreed very much with Xianxia's words, and he could also tell that Xianxia attached a lot of importance to the following match with him, which was why he had to make the best adjustment. And this time, Xiao Ping also decided to display his full strength. He had to defeat Xianxia. Therefore, he needed to adjust himself as well. He had indeed used up quite a bit of energy on the Fire Xiong Divine Steel just now. Xiao Ping was not anxious, so was Xianxia, but everyone was anxious to death. They wanted to throw Xianxia onto the stage and compete quickly. 4 hours later, Xianxia finally went to collect the ingredients needed to refine 5 elements dan, as well as the uniform pill furnace. After knowing that Xiao Ping had met an opponent and was planning to hold a small competition here, everyone from the other regions rushed over. The reason why Xianxia had raised his profile a little was because he was following Xiao Baifeng's instructions. Only by doing this could he win over Xiao Yulan. And after this preliminary competition, there would definitely be a period of time until the official competition begins. If he could get Xiao Yulan's attention here, then he would definitely receive many benefits. Xiao Ping was very knowledgeable about Xianxia, so he would never underestimate Xianxia. Instead, he viewed Xianxia as a target that he had to defeat, which was something only he and his old follower knew. Xianxia was standing right in front of Xiaoping. Because the moment Xiaoping arrived, no one dared to refine pills beside him. However, Xianxia was not afraid. After he sat down, Xiaoping said, "I'm worried that you won't go all out." "Why are you so worried?" Xianxia smiled and asked. The crowd burst into an uproar again. After sparring with the Prince Ping to refine pills, they did not even need to use all their strength, when suddenly they felt that the little man that Xiao Baifeng was raising was not small at all. Because whether you win or lose this match, you will not lose anything. Furthermore, there is no motivation for you to go all out. Xiaoping said. That makes sense. Xianxia nodded his head. In that case, something is indeed missing. Xiaopinglang laughed and took out a jade token. This is the Heaven God Fire Dan's pill formula. Heaven God Fire Dan. After everyone heard this, they almost couldn't believe that this was real. Xiaoping actually dared to take out such a precious pill recipe to gamble with. Even if it wasn't a pill formula, just a Heaven God Fire Dan was already extremely precious. Young Master, this Heaven God Fire Dan is Great National Master's most prized pill formula. The old follower was interrupted by Xiaoping. You think I will lose? Xiaoping smiled faintly. Xianxia had also heard of Heaven God Fire Dan before. This was recorded in the knowledge of pellets Feng Yujia had passed down to him. As long as he ate the Heaven God Fire Danes that corresponded to his own strength, he could absorb the divine power of the heavens and earth and condense a very strong flame divine deity. It was just that he needed to consume a lot of it to continuously absorb it and quickly condense divine deity. This kind of pill was indeed very precious. This is the supreme God pellet, but you can also use Shangping medicine to refine Shangping Dan. Xiaoping laughed. Now you have the motivation to compete with me. Xiaoping was only worried that Xianxia wouldn't use all of his strength to compete with him, which was why he did this. In the eyes of many people, this was an incomprehensible action. But you also need to come up with something to bet with me. Xiaoping said. I can't take it out, I'm very poor. Elder sister Baifeng has been helping me all this time, and she provided me with the pill furnaces. Xianxia spread his hands. Of course Xianxia had good things, it was just that he could not gamble on them, he was not as wasteful as Xiaoping. 1,000,000,000 Xin Yuan stone. How about it? Xiaoping looked at Xiao Baifeng. She should be able to afford these Xin Yuan stone. Xin Fei, make a bet with Prince Ping. I'll pay for this 1,000,000,000 Xin Yuan stone. Xiao Baifeng agreed without hesitation. It could be seen that she was extremely confident in Xianxia, and she also knew the value of Heaven God Fire Dith. Xianxia laughed. Don't worry, Prince Ping. I will definitely show my true strength, but don't get angry from embarrassment when you lose. Do I look like someone who would want to do such a thing? He had already picked up the invisible divine fruit and began to examine it. How about this, since it's the same pill furnace and the same divine medicine? Let's exchange for it so that everyone can be at ease. Xiaoping said. After all, he had taken out his trump card and gambled with it, so he had to be very careful in this matter. No problem. Xianxia and Xiaoping changed their positions. The pill furnace and the divine medicine were placed on the ground. Now, more and more people started to gather. The Heaven God Fire Dan's reputation was too big, and the fire elementalists were the most famous. And now there was actually someone who used this pill formula to make a bet. Many people did not believe it, but after knowing that Xiaoping had taken it out to make a bet, everyone had no choice but to believe it. The Heaven God Fire Dan was the top quality divine formula created by the Great National Master, and Xiaoping, as the only disciple of the Great National Master, would definitely have this recipe as well, so only he would dare to take it out to gamble. The quality, speed, and quantity will be determined by these three criteria. When the time comes, both you and I will have a plan. Xiaoping said. Xianxia nodded. Let's begin. It was finally about to begin. Xiaoping's face also became serious. Although giving away the Heaven God Fire Dan's pill formula wouldn't do him much of a loss, he would definitely be scolded by his master, so he had to protect it. Xianxia's motivation had two aspects. On one hand, he would lose 1,000,000,000 Xin Yuan stone, and this Xin Yuan stone was definitely Xiao Baifeng's last resort. On the other hand, if he won, he would be able to obtain this precious pill formula, which was extremely useful to him. Xianxia directly threw the five elements divine fruits into the pill furnace. He did not do it according to the pill formula. Xiaoping only followed the steps of the pill formula, only that he sped up his pace. Before, Xianxia had said that Xiaoping would definitely be able to complete it within 2 hours, and perhaps even faster. Now, it seemed that he had spoken correctly. If he followed the steps in the pill formulas, Xiaoping would have already progressed to halfway. However, no one knew about Xianxia's progress. He did not follow the pill formulas. There were even many people who suspected that he was capable of refining the pills. If it weren't for the powerful Alchemist S, 1,000,000,000 Xin Yuan stone would still be considered a large number to the 30 great saint gods with divine deity. The Xin Yuan stone S that Xiao Baifeng had saved up for so many years had been defeated mostly because they had only known each other for a few days. She also secretly felt that she had paid a lot to raise Xianxia. Xiaoping was a prince who had the qualifications to compete for the throne, so his every action would receive the attention of the great powers in the Imperial Nine Palace. More and more people came, and the crowd didn't understand pill forging at all. All they were waiting for was the result, the one who lost and the one who won. Princess, I never thought that the little man from Baifeng's group would be so powerful. The Fire Xiong Divine Tablet had reached a total of 36, but Prince Ping held such high regard for him. In order to compete to his heart's content, Prince Ping actually took out a heaven god Fire Dan and used it to unleash his greatest strength. In the garden of one of Jade Cauldron Palace's strictest villas, a woman was talking to a lady in a white dress who was playing a zither. Can you find out anything about this Xin Fei? The lady in the white dress who was playing the zither kept the jade zither and asked softly. No, it's as if he suddenly appeared. The people from the other 8 divine nations have never heard of him either. The woman said, I'm also worried that Baifeng will be tricked. She hasn't had any contact with a man for many years, but now, she's allowed a man to sit in the same house with her. Furthermore, she's even given him so much. Don't worry, as long as we're in the Imperial Nine Palace, Baifeng will be fine. Before I figure out the reason for this Xin Fei's visit, I can't get him to leave the Imperial Nine Palace no matter what. The lady who was playing the zither just now was Xiao Yulan. She was much smarter than Xiao Baifeng. Although she did not seem to care about the Xin Fei that Xiao Baifeng had introduced, she had secretly investigated him many times. Furthermore, in these past few days, Xiao Baifeng's whereabouts were all under her control. If you have any results, feel free to report to me. If Xin Fei is truly someone useful, I will personally talk to him. Xiao Yulan said. Yes, princess. Xianxia and Xiaoping's match could be said to be extremely intense. Both of them were desperately fighting for time, using the fastest time possible to refine as many 5 elements Dan as possible. Soon, an hour passed. However, their pill furnaces were extremely calm. It was terrifyingly calm, as if nothing had happened inside. When the alchemist was refining pills, more or less, the pill furnace would emit a bit of hot air. But right now, the two of them did not have a single pill furnace. To them, this pill furnace was just a cover. When they were concocting pills, the flames did not touch the pill furnace at all. Under these circumstances, it was already amazing that they could still perform so well. Now, everyone knew why Xiaoping valued Xianxia so much. It was because Xianxia's standards were similar to his. However, there was a heaven and earth difference between Xianxia's divine deity and Xiaoping's. After about an hour, Xiaoping suddenly opened the lid, and Xianxia opened it at almost the same time as him. Xianxia's expression was also very solemn. This Xiaoping's alchemy level was really strong. He could clearly feel that he was unsure if he could win. If it was in the past, he would definitely be very confident. Alright, we finished it at the same time. Now it all depends on the quantity and quality, Xiaoping said. Xianxia nodded, and at the same time, retrieved the 5 elements Dan from the furnace with Xiaoping. Seeing the 5 elements Dan that they took out, everyone was stunned. There were actually 6 of them. Being able to refine 2 or 3 of these 5 elements Dan was already very impressive, but now that they could refine 6 of them, it was clear from the luster of their pills that they were of high quality. No one dared to look down on Xianxia anymore, and they no longer dared to tease him that he was raising men. A man who could refine 6-5 elements Dan S in one furnace and take care of 2 Xiao Baifeng S in half an hour. Is it even? The old follower said. No, it depends on the quality. Xiao Ping took out a round plate. In the middle of the plate, there was a small dent, just large enough to fit into a divine pill. In the middle of the plate, there was a square crystal with many complex spirit grain S on it. This is a divine tool used to test the quality. My master entrusted it to the heavenly divine lord to refine it. Do you trust this divine tool? Xiao Ping said. Xianxia nodded his head. Although the heavenly divine lord had been defeated, the many divine tools that he had refined were still circulating around, and they were extremely precious. All right, the square crystal on the plate will show the numbers. The higher the number, the higher the quality. We will test the 6 supreme Dan beads separately, and the one with the biggest numbers is the winner. Xiao Ping's expression was also extremely serious. He did not want to lose to Xianxia. All right, Xianxia nodded. I'll go first. Xiao Ping placed a 5 elements Dan into the small dent. The crystal suddenly lit up and a number appeared. 90, Xiao Ping said. Then let Xianxia see it clearly. Continue, Xianxia said. Xiao Ping took out that 5 elements Dan and placed it on the other one, showing that it was also 90. Xianxia was also very surprised that Xiao Ping could control it so well. It's your turn, Xiao Ping said. When Xianxia placed the 5 elements Dan that he refined into the first pellet, it displayed a value of 93, which made everyone exclaim in surprise. The quality was actually better than Xiao Ping's, and the next 4 pills were all 90. Now it was the last one. If it was also 90, then Xiao Ping would have lost. At this moment, Xiao Ping was looking at the divine testing tool with rapt attention. His forehead was actually covered in sweat. 86. Xianxia frowned. He did not dare believe that he had actually lost. Xiao Ping's 6 pills had a total value of 540, and Xianxia's was 539, although they had lost a little. I won. Xiao Ping smiled faintly. But winning isn't easy. You were just a little bit away from defeating me. I don't even want that 1 billion Shun Yuan stone. In any case, I've won. Xiao Ping didn't care about the 1 billion Shin Yuan stone. Although Xianxia had lost, it was still a glorious loss because Xiao Ping really did not win easily. Furthermore, it was already pretty good that Xianxia had refined a pill with the quality of 93. This competition could already see Xianxia's level. This was also the main reason that it affected the quality of his medicinal pellets. If he had arrived at 3rd rank Divine King like Xiao Ping, then it would be hard to say. Take it. Give it to Prince Ping. Xiao Baifeng took out a storage bag and handed it over to Xiao Ping's old follower. Everyone knew that this was a 1 billion Shin Yuan stone, yet Xiao Baifeng did not accept Xiao Ping's kindness. However, for those who had the slightest understanding of Xiao Baifeng, they would know that even though she was a female servant, she had a lot of backbone. According to the rules, the refined divine pellets could not be taken away, and after Xianxia lost, he was also not in a good mood. Next time, let's compete again. Xianxia smiled at Xiao Ping. I will definitely win against you again. Of course, if you can still beat me, this will still be yours. Xiao Ping waved the Heaven God Fire Dan's pill formula in his hand. Even though he had won against Xianxia by a little, he still gave him enough confidence. Xianxia came to Xiao Baifeng's side, looking at her with an ashamed face. Just win it back next time and you'll be fine. Xiao Baifeng was very satisfied with Xianxia's performance. At least she did not feel that it would hurt to lose 1 billion Shun Yuan stone. And when she said these words, she even revealed a faint smile to Xianxia. That was a smile of encouragement and praise. Xianxia did lose to Xiao Ping, but this also made him famous here. After all, his level was not far from Xiao Ping's. Returning back to the house, Xiao Baifeng said, Did you not bring out your true strength? Xianxia nodded and sighed. I was too careless and underestimated this guy. It's all my fault. In order to not cause too much trouble, I didn't use my most powerful technique. Xiao Baifeng was very clear of Xianxia's abilities. It was because the mutated Tianhuadan that Xianxia refined was very scary, the high quality was scary. She felt that if Xianxia refined the 5 elements Dan, it would also definitely be able to reach the quality that it was supposed to have. But she was curious why Xianxia did not refine it. What she did not know was that Xianxia was using the heavenly alchemy, so when he came to the divine nations, he definitely could not expose this. And if he wanted to refine a divine pill that had a spirit light, just that broken pill furnace would definitely explode. Yue said, "Elder sister by phone, how many Xin Yuan stone do you still have?" "Not much, only 20 million. But for the Alchemist, this is not even enough to fill the gaps between their teeth." Xiao Baifeng sighed. "I wonder if the princess will value you because of today's match with Prince Ping. If she still doesn't, I can only think of other ways to earn Xin Yuan stone to support you." Yue chuckled. "Elder sister by phone, you aren't actually raising a little man, you're just raising a little scoundrel." "Yue, how did you get this strange disease?" Xianxia reached out his hand to scratch her itch, thinking that it must be Long Shui's fault. "Stop messing around. Someone's coming, and she's even a beauty," Yue shouted, giggling nonstop at Xianxia's words. Xiao Baifeng knew that someone had arrived and hastily opened the door. It was a lady in red, with a charming smile on her jade-like face. She was tall, taller than Xiao Baifeng by 2 heads. "It's you. Did the princess ask you to come?" Xiao Baifeng said. She did not give the lady any face. "Something like that." The lady in red did not enter, because Xiao Baifeng did not let her in. She could only look at Xianxia who was inside, and even gave him a sweet and gentle smile. Xianxia saw that the lady in red was blocked by Xiao Baifeng outside the door, and immediately saw that the relationship between Xiao Baifeng and the lady in red was not good. Causing him to not understand, Xiao Baifeng had followed Xiao Yulan from a young age, and stayed in Imperial 9 Palace for a long time, but did not have any trusted friends. "Can't you just let me in?" The woman in red didn't get angry. She only stuck out her tongue and smiled. "Did the princess send you here?" Xiao Baifeng was still as cold as ever, and didn't welcome the red-clothed female in the slightest. "Yes. She asked me to come and talk to you about something, and at the same time, wanted me to take a look at this man called Xinfei." The lady in red giggled. "What? Are you afraid that he will be lured away by me?" Xiao Baifeng snorted, and opened up a path for her to walk in. The red-clothed female walked into the hall and opened her big watery eyes, looking at Xianxia curiously, as if she had seen something magical. "Xiao Hongke, if you have something to say, quickly say it," Xiao Baifeng said. "He's very tired today and needs to rest early." Xiao Baifeng was currently unhappy, not because she saw Xiao Hongke, but because she felt that Xiao Yulan did not attach enough importance to him, and this would miss the chance for Xianxia to participate in the upcoming competition. Needed resources right now, but she did not, and she could only hope that Xiao Yulan could provide some. Now that she saw Xiao Hongke coming, without a trace of sincerity, she understood that Xiao Yulan had asked her to come take a look. If Xiao Yulan truly valued Xianxia, he would have definitely sent people to find her and talk. "Princess asked me to come and ask about Xinfei's background, because he was too mysterious. Princess would not be at ease if she did not understand him fully. You should know the princess' personality. She has always been this cautious. Don't blame the princess. The princess is doing it for your own good. She doesn't want you to be tricked. She understands that you need to nurture your own people, so she's worried that you'll get ahead of yourself." Xiao Hongke looked at Xianxia and mischievously made a face at him. Xianxia laughed. "Big sister, when you say these words, just sound transmission is enough. There's no need for me to hear it, right? I'm just letting you hear me. What do you think?" Xiao Hongke chuckled. "Tell me about it for big sister. I'm a good person." Xianxia laughed. "Whether you believe it or not is up to you. Do you have any proof?" "Even if I believe you, the princess doesn't believe me, and I don't trust you, so there's nothing I can do. If you really want to be chosen by the princess, you'd better honestly tell me your purpose in coming here. Don't think that the princess can't see through your motives in coming here." Xiao Hongke came to Xianxia's side and said with a charming smile. Xiao Baifeng was a little angry. "Hongke, quickly leave. Go back and tell the princess that I can handle this kind of matter by myself. there's no need for her to worry about it. The past few days that she had spent with Xianxia, she believed that she understood Xianxia very well. She believed in her intuition that Xianxia would definitely not harm her. Furthermore, the fact that she was together with Xianxia gave her a joy that she had never felt before. For some reason, when she was together with Xianxia, she felt very relaxed and didn't need to be on her guard against Xianxia. Elder sister by phone. I know that you haven't had a breakthrough in all these years and I'm a bit worried, but you can't lose your head because of this. We can all understand you. Xianxia frowned and turned to look at Xianxia. Xianxia rubbed his nose and said, "Are you saying that Jade Cauldron Divine King suspects me?" She was worried that my motive for entering the Imperial Nine Palace was not pure? Exactly. So you'd better cooperate and say what you're here for. If you truly wish to join the Jade Cauldron Palace, we will be the most helpful to you and allow your progress in the Piltdown to be smooth. You should be clear now that your own strength is not enough. Xianxia kept her sweet smile and said very straightforwardly, I only came here to see Jade Cauldron Divine King, to be her subordinate. What I said was the truth, and it was up to you whether you want to believe it or not. Before I met the elder sister by phone, I could not refine Zhongpindan, and it was only because she gave me the divine medicine that I learned it. So now I have a second goal, which is to grow as fast as possible and help the elder sister by phone become even stronger. Xianxia sighed. If you still do not believe, then I have no choice. I can only give up my first goal, and achieve my second goal will be enough. Don't you want to see the princess now? Xianxia asked. She was very clear about the charm of her princess. There were a lot of experts who came here due to admiration. Some of them had never seen Xiao Yulan before, but they worked hard for him. It's fine if she doesn't see me. I'm just a lowly nobody. She doesn't put me in her eyes, and she looks down on me. It's normal for her to not see me, so I feel that it's better to forget about it. To me, it's easier to help the elder sister by phone become stronger than to see him. Xianxia was also angry in his heart. His goal in coming here was to save his wife. The Jade Cauldron Divine King was so tyrannical, he kidnapped Xianxia and the others. If he had the strength, he would have killed the Imperial Nine Palace already. Now, it seems that you are not worthy of my princess in your eyes, right? Aren't you afraid that we'll kick you out? Xianxia said coldly, her attitude becoming very bad, because she could hear that Xianxia was angry, and furthermore, the tone of her voice did not even put Xiao Yulan in her eyes. You want to chase me away? Please go ahead. Since I am going to accomplish my second goal, I don't need to stay here. Xianxia did not give her any face, and had already stood up. Xia, if you're still treating me as your big sister, then hurry up and leave. This is my business. If the princess is going to chase him away, then I will go with him. Xiao Baifeng's voice carried a trace of anger. Xianxia glared at Xianxia fiercely, and then looked at Xiao Baifeng with a tender and affectionate gaze as he let out a faint sigh. All right, I'll leave now. After Xianxia left, Xianxia snorted. This woman is not the type to do big things. Before, I thought that the Jade Cauldron Divine King was very powerful, but now it seems like it. You're not allowed to talk about the princess. Xiao Baifeng said. Princess doesn't care so much about your background. She must have her own thoughts. Xianxia laughed coldly. If she really needs talent right now, she shouldn't be putting on such a haughty attitude. You're so concerned about my background, used everything to investigate, and even sent Xia Jr. to go against you, but she's just not willing to come? You're already so concerned about me, you might die if you meet me. You! Xiao Baifeng also didn't know what to say to refute Xianxia. Xiao Yulan did indeed mind Xianxia a lot, but he just didn't want to come by himself. This was exactly the same as what Xianxia had said.